Yeah. Welcome in. Welcome in. Happy Monday, everyone. It is the 24th of March, and we are here. Thank God.
And
Praise
we're
God.
alive.
Praise God, man.
Praise God. Yes, I
It's
was
been
worried.
a
I'm
it's
glad
been a
y'all made it
trying day,
safely.
but we are here with the people, man. We made it. That's the most important thing, and
Yes.
I'm happy that everybody is here with us. Shout out to everybody in the chat. I see y'all. I saw somebody was in here at 7:26. Said, "I can't wait. We ready.
Okay.
We are ready." And so are we. Man. How you feeling, Ian?
Amazing. Happy to be here. Glad y'all made it safely. I know y'all had to go make a little trip. You know what I mean?
Quick detour.
Yeah, real quick. Go check on Meek
Yeah.
Mill or something.
That's a
But
fact. This
I'm
is
happy
live.
to be here.
This is live, ladies and gentlemen.
That's a fact.
This is live. So if you're interested, I know there's a strong contingent of people.
Nah, they ain't. It's live. Yeah,
What
man.
difference do it make though if the information fire?
That's what I'd
What
be
difference
saying.
do it make? Listen to the tape.
Big facts.
Listen to the tape.
Big
That's a
facts.
fact.
That's the J. They said, what difference do the locks assign to? What difference do it make? Listen to the tape. Just listen to the information. Live,
And
pre-recorded, but
execute.
that's
Yeah.
a fact. But this is
If
live.
Jensen call us again, ain't gonna be no more lives. I'm telling you that.
Yo,
What?
that was,
Ultra Blackwell. What? Lots to talk about.
He said we
Robotics.
gon-
A lot to talk about.
they said we
Ooh.
going ultra black.
Mm.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into it. First and foremost,
Let's talk about it.
thank you to the good folks at NVIDIA and
Absolutely.
Meta. We'll talk about that later on.
Yep.
But we was out there last week. Shout out to EY University. We was in Atlanta
Hey.
this weekend. And we have a special episode. Well, Blackout this week is going to be good. We got Tamika Mallory. Shout out to her.
Shout out to her.
That's going to be good.
Books out.
Spicy conversation.
Yeah.
And then for Earn Your Leisure,
Special.
we got a special episode. Episode 11. That changed everything for us as far as if you're an OG listener, episode 11 is when we had a gentleman from Baltimore, Derek Falcon, restaurateur.
Yep.
He was the first one that came on that really broke down his business blueprint and talked about the numbers, and it's a cult classic.
Mm-hmm.
And he's become like a cultural, like folk hero, like if you know you know type thing. So we revisited the situation. He changed. He's in New York City now. He got a donut empire. Him and his partner Zodi. So we revisited the conversation almost 6 years later from the classic episode part 2.
Yeah.
Part 2, we caught up with
Well,
the
it's
good
been
brother
that long.
Derek.
Wow, time is
Yeah.
flying.
So 6 years to the day, we actually did the episode, and it was great to watch the. Obviously, sometimes we do episodes with people, and brotherhoods and friendships are birthed from that. Obviously, what we have with you as well. Derek is one of those people, and he hasn't come back to have his own episode. He's done EYL University. He was at our book stop in New York, and people just are blown away every time he speaks. But to watch the evolution has just been incredible behind the scenes, and so now you get to share with the world. And he got some stuff he's cooking up too. So it's definitely a special moment, definitely for us. We always say that won't change everything on how we did Earn Your Leisure. So to hear where he's at now, it's going to be a special one.
Salute to Derek. So check that out Thursday at 6:00. And somebody asked, do we have a Discord? We Earn Your Leisure does not have Discord. So if you get a DM or if you get
and you transfer all your Bitcoin, it's on you.
It's not us.
we don't have a WhatsApp group chat. We don't have a Discord.
I don't have a backup Instagram.
Please do not get scammed. The only thing that we have outside of this is EYL University. That's official. EYL University is official. But the Earn Your Leisure Discord, Earn Your Leisure WhatsApp group chat, Earn Your like all of that stuff, scam. That's all scam and fraud. So join EYL University if you're interested in more hands-on education. But no Discord, no WhatsApp.
Yeah, shout out to them. They just had a meeting right before this, the investing group, right before we came on. So shout out to them.
Shout out to EYL University.
All the earners in there.
Ian, any announcements you would like to make?
Yeah, shout out to everybody who joined Red Panda in the last couple of weeks. I love you. Telegram's been on fire. I went back and looked the last 3 months. I'm averaging like 7 posts a day. So I'm bringing y'all a lot of breaking news. If you didn't join, price will be going up in June. Go to eninvest.com if you want to get rich from the market. If I made you money, please put yes in chat.
Yeah, let's see those yeses in chat.
That's what matters the most. If I
That's
told
a
you
fact.
around the time Tesla will start to bounce up, when Nvidia will start to go up, put yes in chat. If you want to get rich from the market and never have to guess where to get in, join the Red Panda family. I appreciate you. Stock Club call will be this Wednesday at 9 p.m. Central. I love y'all, and let's have an amazing show. Shout out to everybody at Nvidia, Meta. Shout out to all you who was making review videos 3 years ago and you dead as a fucking doorknob, my boy. Lo siento. He forgives you for you know not what you do.
Ian, please. We spoke about this. They
If you're not in that trillionaire club, I don't even want to hear it. Please.
They can't talk like we talk because they ain't been where we've been. Yeah, yo, Derek, and who else? My man Jamal. No, what he's saying is true. There is no Discord. That's true. I'm sorry if somebody solicited you from that. That's not us.
Shout out to Derek Falcon too. When I was first getting ready for the interview, he had me stressed. I'm like, wait, they put up 68 points and 35 minutes of content. Hey, I was worried. So shout out to Derek. Had me get my little rhyme book together, getting ready for the interview. So I'm excited for this one this week.
Yeah, that was the prerequisite. You used to send people before.
That's a fact.
For sure.
What should I prepare myself for? Here's the episode. Use that as a reference. I told
Yuri, I'm like, I don't know if I can live up to this. Like, she's like, no, just do your futures talk. I'm like, all right. Derek killed it, boy.
Shout out to Claudia. Yes, we do have a Patreon. We put the ad-free audio in there. That is true. Claudia, yes. All right. Here's our disclaimer. Do your own research. Shout out to everybody in Red Panda. Shout out to everybody in EYLU. Shout out to everybody that's here tonight with us. Our content is intended to be used and must be used for informational purposes only. It is very important to do your own analysis before making any investment based on your own personal circumstances. You should take independent financial advice from a professional in connection with, or independently research and verify any information that you find on our show and which to rely upon, whether for the purpose of making an investment decision or otherwise. Continue to do the research, share the research, build love, build community.
Yes.
Build your account. Love is love. Y'all know how we do. Love is love.
Did y'all mention InvestPass?
Oh, we're gonna talk about that a little bit.
We're getting there. We're getting there, man.
I'm sorry. Let the bill got you.
Happy birthdays. My man Ken. Shout out to a day one earner. Shout out to Detroit. What up, though?
Oh, it's Ken's birthday, my brother.
It was Ken's birthday this weekend. That is my guy. Shout out to him. I mean, just a genuine dude who's always willing to help out in any form or facet. So shout out to him. And shout out to my man BD. He was with BD yesterday. I know it's the missus' birthday. So he probably tuning in. Maybe now he's at dinner, but shout out to Brady. Happy birthday.
Salute. Okay. If you had to make a starting 5 out of these stocks, who would start? Visa, Tesla, AZAC, Boeing, Viasat, FedEx, Lockheed Martin, DG, and Kava.
Okay, I know some of y'all are tired of Apple and Microsoft, and I'm tired of Apple too. Shout out to everybody at HQ. These are my thoughts and my thoughts only. But I'll do 5th. At number 5, I'm going to draft Kava, Chipotle. I don't know why. When they were available, you didn't acquire them. I think it would have been a great addition to the brand. I will not say Kava's the new Chipotle, because anytime I said something's the new something, didn't work out. But Kava's really solid at number 5. Number 4, I'm going to go with Lockheed Martin. Until Anduril goes public, they have pole position in that defense space, even though Trump is texting out the plans for war to journalists at the source. War is going to be an important factor over the next 4 or 5 years, and Lockheed is going to lead that group. At number 3, I have Tesla, despite Elon and Kanye's group chat going crazy this weekend. Tesla made a bounce today, and I think they will recover over the next 2 years, even though him and the vice president of the United States are not getting along right now. Number 2, FedEx, and then number 1, I think is probably the most stable company of the big tech that does not get talked about enough, and that would be Visa. So I would do Visa number 1, FedEx 2, Tesla 3, Lockheed number 4, and Kava at number 5. Sorry, Dollar General. Sorry.
Solid 5. I think I have the same 5. I'm gonna throw if I had a 6 man of the year.
Okay.
You got a 6 minute a year. Would you have one, or I'm gonna throw one out there just because I like I said, when we agree with each other, it's like it's not really fun. So I gotta throw like a little curveball here. But Visa, I love that. We've been in that position for a while. Kava, y'all know I love. I actually am having that for dinner tonight. And I spoke about this in the class a couple of weeks ago about Kava and some of the pullbacks that we've seen. How much each store is bringing in. There is probably going to be a slight downturn in the near future for it, just because of all the federal workers and the uncertainty around federal work. The locations of a lot of, I think, a quarter of Kava stores in that DC, DMV area. So that's something to keep in mind. But there's still growth. They're still having more stores. I think they're up to over 347, which shows that there's still growth. Like you said, there was an opportunity for Chipotle to potentially acquire them. They didn't. And then they tried to get a Mediterranean fast casual, and that hasn't worked out well for them either. But still love Kava, so that's a solid 5. If I had to put one, based on the things that I saw over the past week,
okay,
I'm still putting Micron in my 6 man of the year.
Oh, outside, okay.
Yeah. Outside of this, and I know, like Troy, like you're still talking Micron. I'll explain it later. But after what I saw this week, and based on what they showed on their earnings report last Thursday, I'm still putting that's gonna be my 6 man of the year. We're not moving from there.
I hate to agree with you, but I'm not mad at it. And low key, after we had a talk with the brothers at Super Micro, maybe the 7th or 8th spot. But Micron, I agree with 1,000%. And it's interesting that Chipotle didn't acquire Kava, given their origin story of McDonald's having ownership of them and then McDonald's letting them go for whatever reason. So they kind of made the same mistake that McDonald's did back in the day. But I'm not mad at the Micron take. And got to be fair, Micron's better than AMD right now on a performance basis.
They had a good day today. They had a good day today. And Derek said, what about TSM? Derek, we're talking about outside of the ones. We know
outside of the
outside of the regulars. We know those
junior varsity. Well, Visa wouldn't varsity,
this is like the NCAA tournament. This ain't like the league. Like,
Okay.
So,
all right.
Good
question.
Great question.
Let's go to this. What are 2 to 3 things every trader must execute every single day to have a competitive advantage and become more successful?
I think there's a lot of talk about indicators, but not enough conversation around building an edge that only you have in the market. I've given 72, of course, the 200-day, 420-day moving average, but you have to have an entry point and exit point, how to get in and out, that many people don't use. And I've told people before, please write this down. So I have like 2 screens, of course, like 2 monitors. My primary monitor is my setup only. My second monitor is the setups that everyone else will use. Volume profile, the 20, the 5, the 21, the 8 EMA, 200-day EMA, volume profile, standard Fibonacci retracements, because I want to see where I can pick apart where you're going. So it's like watching tape on another player. A lot of times, too many traders know where they want to get in, but they don't see where the liquidity is or the mistakes in other traders' moves. And then number 2, given we are in a more volatile condition, what is a target that you're going to use for a volatile market to take advantage of the upswing and the downswing? I think most of the bounce or the downside is over for the time being, unless he announces that he's going to be tariff man again. But somebody called him over the weekend and said, hey, man, ease up. And now he's easing some of that tariff pressure on other countries. Interesting, to say the least. But given when we are in a more volatile market, what target are you going to use? And then also going back to that stock market almanac, knowing, so like this time of the year is when the money from the hedge funds start to flow in. We have a new month for futures expiration that just started today. And you can see that we had a push up. So just knowing all of that data in combination, I think that's what you have to do to be able to get an edge in today's market. But what do you think?
I'll add something that sounds very simplistic, but most people won't do, and that's read every day.
Thank you.
Literally every day. The first thing I'm doing when I wake up is read, and I'm not like talking about reading captions on Instagram. Like literally, I have 20 different publications that I'm reading, and I'm not reading for every company. This is what we talk about, focusing on the companies that you're interested in, that you're invested in. So every day I'm reading about those companies to see what's happening, what the new developments are. Are they pullbacks? Are they new type of initiatives that they're looking to launch? Always, always, and forever I'm reading, because that's where I find the information. A lot of times people are like, where'd you get all that information? I was reading.
Digesting information. Yep.
Digesting it. And so it's vitally important. Like I said, you don't want to look for every single company. I mean, that would be a lot of time, and you probably would like overindulge in the information.
Yeah.
But when it comes to specific companies, the TSMs of the world, Nvidias of the world, the Microns of the world, the Kavas of the world, I'm locked in on those companies because I'm investing in those companies. So I want to know what's happening. I want to see how the company's moving, because I might say, hey, I'm in a position now, but there's an opportunity for some more long-term positions for me to get in. And so when we see pullbacks like we did over the past couple of weeks, it's like, yeah, I still believe in this company long-term. When people ask me, I got to tell them why. Here's why. This is what I'm seeing. This is what I'm looking at. Shout out to my man. He just DM'd me like, hey, we ran into each other in the airport. And I was like, he's like, yo, your conversation really inspired me. I doubled down on some of those positions we talked about. That's what it's about, man. It's about reading, gathering information, deciphering the information, and then being able to explain that information to anybody, to your community, and to your friends and family, so that they can get the knowledge as well. And then hopefully that's being transferable. I'm getting information back, and so I could use that. But read, man.
All publications, Wall Street Journal, get the physical paper delivered, and Barron's, and you'll be fine. Of course, CNBC. But if you tune in the market, I'm gonna be real. Most publications aren't telling you what price point to get in. I don't want to make any war between any other shows, but man, we make it so easy for you to give you the information, tell you where to get in, where to get out, which companies to stay away from. But Wall Street Journal paper, and the Barron's weekend edition, fire.
Yeah, Barron's is good. Seeking Alpha is good. Zacks, I used who else? You said Wall Street Journal, Bloomberg. I'm doing Fox Business. I'm doing anything that I think I could find information from. And I used to do that with the intent of knowing that people wouldn't do it. Right. I would wake up at 5:30 just to read them all, because I figured by the time you go to work, you're not going to read at all.
For sure.
And now we're getting to the point where I had a conversation the other day and like, yo, Troy, what's the next move? I'm like, we already talked about the next move, but what's your plan? You're like, my plan is your plan. I'm like,
yep.
Well, that's my plan. He's like, nah, my plan is your plan. I'm like, all right, we got to do more explaining so that people, like, yes, they can hear what we're saying. They can come up with a plan, and they might have some audibles inside it to say, like, this is what works for me. But yeah, the fundamental part starts with reading and educating yourself.
Every day. Yep. Barron's on every day. Watch
bar chart too.
Hey, bar chart fire. I don't know who they've added to their team. Bar chart. Ooh.
I'm be honest, there might be a class on bar chart coming up. I've started to use that a little bit more than I had in the past, just because the amount of research that's on it. I didn't even realize it when I first started using it. But over the past month or two, I'm like, damn, this has pretty much everything in the same place. Bar chart is definitely a dope one. Yeah, shout out to
on the indicator side, tradingview.com. There's some indicate, like if you want a moon phase indicator and a couple other things, TradingView is a great resource to use for sure. Share with 5 friends.
Hit the like button and share, please. Okay, speaking of that, so okay, so here's the deal, ladies and gentlemen. There's a time in life where some people transcend. Some people transcend, right? Shout out to Charlemagne. He asked me to speak about some things, so there's transcending moments in life. Like there's influencers who have influence.
Hello.
And then there's transcenders.
Hello.
You deserve to be rich. New York Times bestseller.
By the way,
the game is over. We have transcended. We will talk about our journey to NVIDIA headquarters. We'll talk about our journey to Meta headquarters.
HQ. Classic building. Never been there.
For sure.
You haven't.
Same day.
For sure. We don't do no crowdfunding. Ghana is not crowdfunding. It's a real estate development. There's levels, ladies and gentlemen.
For the record,
just so we're
these
clear.
bullets are just for a few people.
That needs to be said though.
Just so we're clear, it's not $500 crowdfunding.
Yeah, shout out to the guys, and everywhere we go, that's the talk of the town. Keep going, Shotty.
But we love everybody. But with the transition, year 5,
single
biggest business event on planet Earth, InvestFest legendary. August 22nd to August 24th in Atlanta, Georgia.
Ooh, what a time.
This will be the best year. I'm going out on a limb and saying that.
I agree. Listen, I'm so excited. Shout out to Elwin. I talked to shout out to Ty. I'm starting to prepare on a presentation in May. Normally I wait to July. No. Year's too important. I've always told y'all hold for 5 years. This applies to this too. Year 5.
Year 5.
Reflection point.
Reflection point.
That's a fact.
Reflection point. That is a fact. So
after seeing Jensen on stage,
that's a fact. Very inspirational. Very inspirational. So year 5, we back Atlanta. For the people that are saying like, why are you going to Atlanta? You know, it's become a cultural important moment for Atlanta. And one of the things with business is that it's called if it's not broke, don't fix it. And you get to get better over the course of time when you're actually familiar with the situation. So every year, shout out to GWCC. We had a meeting with them. They're great staff, great. You know, you pick up different things, you learn different things. So, you know, it's a reason why Essence doesn't leave New Orleans or Coachella doesn't leave Coachella.
I tried to get them to come to Houston, y'all. It didn't work.
But Red Panda does have a discount code. So
hello.
If you're in Red Panda, there's a discount code for Red Panda. But if you want to buy your tickets, pre-sale tickets right now, like I said, year 5 is going to be one of them ones. Give back is going to be crazy. This is the legendary moment for the culture. Investfest.com. You can get your tickets. You can get your vendor booths. And
yeah,
it's called Transcend.
Yeah.
Would you like to discuss who may be there? Have to ask for the audience.
Yo, Ian, we didn't even tell you this. We had a phone. No. Listen, we've been cooking already. You know that. But we had a phone call today. We'll talk about that another time.
Got you.
But no, it's important because it's, you know what? It's always a challenge, right? Like people always say, like, who could they have next or what could they do next? And it's always like that sits with you for like the entire year. So like August 27th, you're like, this one was great. How can we make it better? And so you just think about how to make it better, right? From a logistics standpoint, from a participant standpoint, from an ownership standpoint. How do we make this thing better? And we hit on some key points. We had, like you said, we was in Atlanta today going over what we can do better. And the team is on board, but expect the unexpected. Expect the unexpected.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yes. Jamar.
Michael Saylor.
Expect the unexpected.
Satoshi Nakamoto.
We found him.
Will be in the building.
Langley.
Will be in the building. Jamar, shoot me a DM. I can answer that question. Shoot me a DM, my personal DM. Okay. All right. InvestFest. Get your tickets, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Investfest.com. Speaking of Satoshi Nakamoto, XRP. Finally, the day has come. It looks like that case is getting dropped. So what does this mean for XRP and the XRP army?
Shout out to everybody in the XRP army. The case is finally won. Thank you for being long-term investors. I'm very proud of you. Hopefully they can have some integration inside of the banks. I'm not sure. I haven't got any intel on which ones, but now that the case is over and they've been suppressed forever, maybe a Van Eck or a Piper can do what BlackRock did to Bitcoin and find a way to use that asset to integrate it into the centralized banks. So you are going to see more massive adoption, I think. All the predictions of XRP going to 25,000 and all that, I don't believe
that's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Shout out to anyone who's done that. I rock with everybody. I love it. I have nothing but love in my heart. Te amo. but I don't think it's getting 25,000 in no lifetime. So,
No.
but I mean, could I see it going up to $5 or $7 for sure? But I do think that they were suppressed, and as a result, other coins took off and got bigger market caps. And I don't know if you can recapture the flame that they had 5 or 6 years ago.
Yeah, they were
And
definitely
I
on the
was
run.
pro XRP, so don't when y'all do your little think pieces, don't put me in them.
Yeah, the Van Eck or the BlackRock play is interesting. We've seen this happen for Ethereum, and we thought that might lead to some momentum, and it hasn't quite worked out for Ethereum. And the use
Not so
cases
much.
there. XRP obviously is different, has different purpose. I think the closure of this case, it does do a couple things for it. It boosts confidence, number one, in investors in it,
Sure.
but it also allows it to be listed again. Like if
Very true.
for a long time, the most simplistic way to invest was through Coinbase. And when you went to Coinbase and tried to invest in XRP, it wasn't even an option. And so that should
Yeah.
help it. And yeah, like again, the institutional side, right? Like who will be the big tech company or the big fintech company or the Goldman Sachs or who will decide that they're going to create the ETF for it?
Yes.
If we look at the track record of who's already invested inside that space, I mean, there's some signs that are pointing to it. 25,000 is ridiculous, but yeah, I mean, getting back to 350 would be great. Getting back to 389 where it was at in like 2018. Like, let's see if we can do that before we start throwing out hypothetical numbers of 7 and 10 and 25,000, which would I don't even know what that's beyond. What is that, quadrillion status? Like, let's get back to its all-time high.
Yeah. For the love of God, Apple, I know y'all had that project and y'all been putting out nothing but shit that people don't want. If you adopt something crypto related like you were supposed to, and I pitched for y'all to do 4 years ago, this may just be a step in the right direction because y'all already had the partnership in works in 2017 and 2018. Damn. It sucks when other tech companies in the Big Seven treat Apple like the failure of the group now. Apple, I love you dearly. Can we right this ship before it's too late, my boy? These are my thoughts and my thoughts only. Ian Dunlap and Red Panda LLC. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Amazon is partnered with Rip. I saw somebody put that in the chat. So that was promising. We'll see. It's still early. I feel like the space is so early.
Yeah.
This being lifted definitely helps any type of partnerships with any of those Max 7s. But yeah, Amazon was involved. We'll see what that relationship pans out to be post this decision.
Yeah, somebody said Tesla's is the failure of the Max 7.
Right now,
but when you have the ear of the president, and that has always been volatile, he's one or two hedge fund managers away. And also, too, he's going to weaponize these attacks at the dealerships for his benefit. And he's like, those Cybertrucks are going to become MAGA mobiles for that base. When you have the president saying, buy this, it's an American treasure, that does have some credence to a particular audience.
But what happens to the audience that is now buying BYD though, and it's kicking their face in when it comes to
I've been trying
EVs?
to tell y'all for the last 2 years, BYD. No one wants a Japanese car. Hello, Moto. Cars fire, performance is better. Be careful. And if that car was here or available here, tough. Elon, autonomous. We was at the little convention. You better put them robots out fast. Real fast.
Yeah, they just surpassed them in sales for the first time.
For sure.
Yeah.
So does that mean that Tesla is over?
Nope. If you're in Stock Club, I gave you guys a price to invest in. I can see a world where it gets to maybe 250 worst case scenario. That would be a decent buying position, but it's popped up today. I think the most of that run to the downside is over, and it finally got to a place in that pullback where everyone put it in chat: asymmetric risk to reward. That just means, could I buy it at a price where it's almost guaranteed to go up in my favor and put me in profit? We got to that place because if you look in December, it was at 479. So if I told you in January you would be able to get in at 282 or 262, you will love me forever.
You take it. Yeah, you take it. Yeah.
So we're there now.
That's part of like the process of investing. It's like, yeah, you'll say that number, and then when you first hear it, the stock is so far away from it that it'll never come to it, and then it gets there, and it's like, well, is it gonna fall any further? Yo, it was at 450.
I told you the first time.
Yeah, but hopefully people have seen that enough now where it's like, yes, this is how the market moves. It ebbs, it flows, right? There's going to be higher highs. There's going to be higher lows. There might be some lower lows, but you got to figure out where you're going to enter.
Okay.
Am I conspiracy theorist now when I told y'all that salute was going to cost or no?
Tesla.
Elon at InvestFest.
Expect the unexpected.
You never know.
You never know.
You never know.
We ever gonna tell a story about what almost happened last year or no?
That might be a book.
Okay, got you.
We can tell.
Penguin, hold on. No.
No, that might be right. Like an excerpt. Yeah.
I'm learning. Yes.
Yeah.
Content for publication.
Hey,
Gotcha.
Guys, really?
Yeah.
The documentary piece. Yeah.
Almost got canceled.
Perhaps.
For sure.
Perhaps.
I would have to be in Mexico full time. We
got to make sure we save all the text messages about the potential of what
blowback.
Yeah.
Yeah. For real.
Okay. Speaking of that, we was at Nvidia's conference last week. We didn't see a lot of people
of our hue.
Elaborate, please. Like, what you mean? Like, we saw a lot of people.
You know, tens of thousands.
15,000 15,000 in attendance. Well, before you cut, let me just shout out the people that we did see.
For sure.
Shout out to Lewis.
Lewis, thank you, my brother.
We appreciate you, Will Harley, my brother. Shout out to Tiffany, incredible souls. Thank you for all the assistance. Cherish, Abba, everybody that we encountered was super, super welcoming. And first thing they said was like, we're so happy that you're here. We want to make sure that you guys enjoy this time. I was just like, yo, it's an honor for us to be here and kind of explain our story. But they were thankful. They were thankful for all the work that we've been doing and continue to do. And who knows what that will lead. But go ahead. We didn't see
monologue time? Go ahead.
Let's lead with that, right? First.
Yeah.
Well,
Lewis, thank you again. Clip that in.
Salute.
High honors.
Salute, my guy.
Salute.
Right, go ahead.
Where's Dr. Umar when you need him? But no, we was at on a more serious note, we was in Silicon Valley, and we got a chance to go to NVIDIA's conference, panel, the NVIDIA's conference, went to NVIDIA's headquarters, went to Meta's headquarters. Shout out to Aaron also.
Yep.
Shout out to Abba. Okay. So
let's be honest.
Okay, we got to have this conversation. Where do you want to start? Well, let's start here.
Is this the car conversation or which conversation we having?
What's because the number one question is like, well, what did you see at NVIDIA? What's the key takeaways? Let's do
that.
Because we could use this platform to, diminish other people. But that's not helpful. And with responsibility comes maturity. So everybody matures at different stages in life. Some people mature a little later than others. They're late bloomers. But we have to pray for everybody.
For sure.
For enlightenment and maturity. That's important. So with that being said, NVIDIA, few things that stuck out to me. Jensen was very, very adamant about a few things, but one thing in particular was physical AI.
Yes,
and
robotic.
Yes, in the marketplace. So you asked, what's physical AI robotics? He brought the robot on stage with him. In the marketplace, there was tons of robots. We put it on Instagram as far as the dog, the guy that was doing. Shout out to Alex, Good Energy.
What up?
On the check-in.
What up?
What
up?
The guy that was picking up the stuff in the factories. So there was two things that Jensen was really big on: robotics, and the other key takeaway that I got was the rational aspect of artificial intelligence. That's the new wave. I forget the exact agentic AI.
Yep.
So, all right, like artificial intelligence as we know it today, right? Let's take ChatGPT. You ask it questions and it gives you answers, right? But if you ask it like too complex questions, it'll say, I can't answer that question, or that's debatable, or it's kind of steers away from asking. Like if you say, okay, what's the best religion in the world? They'll say, like, that's a debatable, which it is debatable, right? But if I ask a person that, based on their personal beliefs, based on their rational thinking, based on their upbringing, they'll tell me it's Christianity. They'll tell me it's Islam, it's Buddhism, that's their personal opinion. Like that's how conversations happen with real people, right? But AI doesn't work like that right now. But the next iteration of AI is a rational thought process where it's actually thinking in real time, it's rationalizing situations in its algorithm, and it's giving you answers based off of not only its intelligence, but also its rational mind. That's what's kind of separating humans from AI right now, because they already have intelligence, but they don't have the emotional intelligence, the rational, the how to talk, how to figure things out. That's the next iteration of AI. So if you think about it, like what that's going to do is lower the value of education. Because let's say like right now, lawyers get paid from a scarcity of knowledge that only a select few people in the world have. Like if you have a law degree, you're in a select few group of people in the total sum of the world, right? And that knowledge that you've acquired over 8 years and then working, that's made your education scarce, and that's made your knowledge scarce, which makes your value high.
Absolutely.
But now if everybody has that same knowledge and that same rational thought to be able to not only say this contract is good or bad, but no, this is what we need, this is how we need to negotiate this contract. Well, now the value of a lawyer is really nothing. Because I'm a lawyer, you're a lawyer, Ian's a lawyer, everybody's a lawyer if we have the artificial intelligence.
My lawyer right here.
So he gave the example as far as going to dinner and at Thanksgiving. And it's like, now it's like, okay, if I'm gonna have my spouse there, it's like, okay, I got 8 people sit me at a table. Right now, it'll just give you a random seating chart. But the new version will think about all scenarios. It'll ask you questions, and it'll seat people accordingly based on their opinion.
Seating is important. Seating is important.
Deep
and
rationale.
Stop breaking protocol, man. Stop breaking protocol.
Look, keep going. We go that later. We do that later.
So that was a big thing that he really pushed, and you could talk about the technical side as far as how he's going to make it. It's smarter, and it's using more gigs and the whole nine. But for me, those are the two things that really stuck out to me, because it was like everybody's going to have a robot. The number one job in the world for men, put in chat. What's the number one job?
That was
a gem.
That was a gem.
What's the number one job in the world for men, as far as that employs the most men globally? What's the number one job in the world? And Alex, you could appreciate this. What's the number one job in the world that employs the most men globally? Let's see if anybody gets this right.
That was one of those, like, you learn something new every day.
Which brought me to my point of what I took away and how scary that is.
Yeah, I'll chime in, and then you can chime in on mine. Let them do this.
The number one job in the world for men is drivers. Cab drivers, Uber Eats, truck drivers. Anywhere in the world, you think about it, like, you don't need a skill set to be a driver. You just need a car, right? And you could go to South Africa, you can go to India. There's always a cab drive. There's always, like, that's the number one job for men globally. That's going to be a race pretty soon. Autonomous driving. That's another thing. They have their partnership with GM. Autonomous driving is going to take hundreds of millions of jobs. So imagine all of those people, this is the number one employer for men is a driver. And if we don't need a driver because we have autonomous driving, what does that do to all the number one job for men in the world?
I think, and just to interject just briefly, the autonomous piece that they displayed was completely different than what we saw like in a Tesla, where you get in the car and it's kind of scanning your surroundings to make sure that there's a car's not too close to you on your right or your left, or there's somebody walking, there's a dog, there's a sidewalk. This was something completely different what we saw. This actually was understanding the physical environment based on any scenario, right? And so it would scan the area, and then it would tell you based on the weather perception how it should drive if it snowed, how it should drive if it was sleet, if it studied the weather patterns. And so now it's prepared to drive in any condition, whereas an average human, there's going to be human error. This is preparing for the human error before it even happens, right? So like that piece of understanding the physical world, this is a game changer. I'm not sure you finished. You want me to go?
Yeah.
So like, this is literally in my notes. So agentic AI was that piece you were talking about, and I saw some people put in the chat. It's that reasoning piece, right? So able to ask a question, but it's also able to solve complex problems on its own, which is we're not at that space right now, right? But that is the first thing. The physical AI, like you said, the robotics. I think the piece that he said is that physical AI with reinforcement learning. And so that's when the machine starts to learn and make decisions in the environment, right, to maximize the reward. So like this machine is now doing these things, and it's like, oh, that's how I'm supposed to do it. Trial and error. This is how I'm supposed to do it. That's how I'm not supposed to do it. It was like when we thought of robotics, if they held a ball in their hand and they dropped it, it wasn't like, where did the ball go? The ball was just no longer there. The reinforced learning is like, oh, the ball dropped. It must have fell down. I have to now find it. Right. So imagine like that type of robotics. The interesting thing that he said is like, yes, GBTs are important, right? Agents are going to be important. He said the biggest piece and the biggest opportunity left in the AI puzzle is when physical AI and reinforcement learning are combined, which is when he introduced the robotics that would come inside your home. So we were just sitting there thinking to each other like, wait, hold up, what? We talking about Big U over here, and like they're putting robots in people's homes, and they're trying to rent these robots, and they already got the price points. So that was the first piece, and then we got to go into the exhibit hall and just, like you said, from a technical standpoint,
and go watch.
So like people talk about Blackwell, like we actually saw it, like in front of us, right on the table. Like we got to pick and look at it, and like
shout out to Ada.
Shout out to Ada. We saw what it looked like. And so obviously then the mind starts turning, right? Like I'm like, there's a few times in life where you feel validated, right? And like the information felt validated. And so I'm asking questions. I'm just trying to pry from engineers. And I'm like, what's that? What's that? What's that? Knowing what I'm looking for the answer in mind. And I was like, okay, here go the racks. Who's making these racks? Okay, got my answer. All right. If that's the GPU and this is liquid cooling, who's providing the liquid cooling for this? All right, bet. If that's the GPU, who's doing the storage for that? Oh, bet. Going to vendor market, you see all the players. All the players are there. So if I'm talking about Micron, Micron's there. If I'm talking about Vertiv in terms of liquid cooling, Vertiv is there. If we're talking about Supermicro's there. All these players, you're starting to see all these players, and it's like, oh, this makes sense. And so when we talk about, yes, uncertainty is key to how the market moves, AI is still the story. And even when he spoke about DeepSeek, and he was like, look, you guys got this thing 100% wrong. Just because they had it and they found, they're still going to need compute, and it's still going to take a large amount of money to start to getting these GPUs out. I'm like, damn. Then the last piece was like, how are people going to even compete at this level? This, not only are they saying, hey, here's our product for 2025. Here's our product for 2026 with Blackwell Ultra. Here's our product for 2020, the second half of 2026 with Rubin. Here's our product for 2027, Rubin Ultra. Yo, here's our product for 2028. Feynman. He's already 3 years ahead in the products, right? People are just trying to make a product to compete.
For GPUs that are 3 times ahead of their nearest competitor.
He's 3 years ahead. I'm talking to the people. I'm like, yo, how does this work? They were like, yo, we're in the mindset where the audience is like, hey, it's every year. He said, when we're here, it's every 6 months. We're trying to create new products every 6 months on your head top.
So what's Ian, what's your takeaway? Because he also spoke about the systems and how it's a lot more efficient as far as Blackwell is going to be a lot more efficient and all that stuff. So what was your takeaway?
If I made you money off NVIDIA, please put yes in chat. I had a very interesting revelation. NVIDIA Halo. So if I go look at this, a comprehensive safety system for autonomous vehicles that integrates hardware and software. So he's taken, like Troy said, tree placement, weather patterns, Red Panda going Telegram when we talked about how important that data was. But I'm looking, oftentimes in business, when you have a startup, they tell you what is the total addressable market and how much can you capture. I want to be very clear. What they are building is a software to create an iRobot-like environment for corporate and a Terminator-like environment minus the war component structure. And with the partnership through Dell, they are going to integrate AI into every part of enterprise so humans are not needed.
Well, hold on. Before you, shout out to all of you guys. 6 months ago, we made a list. I put it on Instagram and I said jobs that will be replaced by artificial intelligence. One of the jobs that I put was computer programmer, and all the computer
y'all can hate Bob coding all you want. It's here.
All the computer programmers said how I was being so irresponsible and reckless, and that was a stupid thing to say. Computer programmers are always going to be needed. Who's going to program the AI? During Jensen's address, he said, "Computer programming, it's over."
In NVIDIA, yes,
the AI is programming the computers. Computer programming
for NVIDIA.
Computer programming will become a job of artificial intelligence. So I don't know.
Yeah,
maybe you believe him when he says it. But sorry, Ian. Please continue. But
no, that's okay.
I
want to be very clear though. Here's the opposed to total addressable market. Jensen, in my opinion, is looking at how much market share can I take from every sector. I don't know when it'll come out. With their AI, they're able to detect cancer rates 600% faster than the latest tech that they have right now. And this thing is still in development right now. So I'm looking at enterprise at scale. We're talking about creative spaces. We're talking about taxes, accounting services. Through that partnership with Dell, that's going to take care of enterprise. Tesla may be in trouble with the autonomous vehicles because if they get this down, they're going to deploy the code. I'm telling you, it is iRobot in combination with Terminator, and we haven't even talked about the defense component. And I think that we said when we were on stage, I truly believe this. I've always said you have to invest in the companies that move the GDP. I think NVIDIA is probably the most important company in America right now, tenfold, because they're the catalyst and the driver to help every other Fortune 500 company be better. I want to be clear right now. For all of y'all who asking NVIDIA over Apple, hell fucking yes.
Yeah. Yo,
yes.
And here's the reality.
It's not even close.
Here, the partners. These are the partners. So like we were sitting down there writing notes, and I'm looking at the companies that keep getting brought up. All right. So CoreWeave. If you don't know what CoreWeave is, not publicly traded yet, make sure you do the research on that. Microsoft, right? AWS, which is Amazon, Meta, Google, Oracle, Dell, the ones I mentioned before, Micron, Vertiv, Supermicro, CDNS, Cadence.
And we leaving out the biggest one, pause.
And we got a surprise at the end when we saw a partnership with Disney.
Dog, the Saudis.
Oh, well.
Rashad, now this is where you go to your point.
That was just companies. Just companies.
I'm waiting. I'm waiting because that's important. I'm waiting.
These companies have a major partnership, but also a strategic roadmap to the future, and it all is in that NVIDIA circle. That's why I was talking about that revolution. Yes, it is NVIDIA. Of course, it's NVIDIA, but companies have partnered with them to go along on this ride with them. And it's listen, I would love to say that this is over. I know we're going back and forth about the AI trade. No, not what I saw.
No, no. I was clear. The laggards coming along. Nvidia is going to run that. Everyone benefit from them and having a 300% run up. That's over with. They are the trade.
They are.
I want to be real clear. I was the one because 2016. Go look, rolling out article. Everyone appreciate you. This is the trade though.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. This is like Nvidia's ghostwriting all the code for every country and company that matters on fucking earth.
Yeah, and they're trying to do the goal is hyper efficiency, right? It used to be from an energy standpoint, they had to use so much energy to get an efficient product. They're starting now as they get more advanced in the technology with their GPUs, where they're actually getting efficiency with lower energy, which is interesting, right? So this is why liquid cooling is going to be important in the data centers and the racks that they're doing. And that was a big thing about
even
how
just seeing version now from the new one and how slim.
It's crazy.
I'm like, what?
It's insane.
And the thing with people with the good price to buy Nvidia, well, he told you.
I told you. How many times are you gonna do this? I brought up the Nvidia trade. I'm going back to maturity. I'm developing the slowest. I told you the price to buy. We got to go talk to Jensen and grab a robot off stage for you to listen. No, sorry, got to wait 3 more months. The Saudis wrote a $2 trillion check they ain't talked about yet. What are we waiting on? AMD is not going to replace it. I'm sorry. At least to go sell the company. Not being performative. I'm not being what? It's over with.
Because people like AMD is still an important company, and people are like, well, what about AMD? This is not a competition.
Man, Isaiah Ryder, what's his name?
It's not. I don't want people stop, man. Harold Miners, that's crazy. It's not a competition. Yes, they make a product, right? That is similar, but they're not in competition with each other. This is beyond competition. What they do have is the lower price point. And this is something that we've always gone back and forth with. It's like, yes, at the price point at which Blackwell is going to cap at, how many enterprises or companies can afford 100,000 GPUs, 200,000 GPUs, 300,000 GPUs? Not many can. And so there will be a clientele base for that mid cap to small cap companies that will find a maybe slightly less efficient GPU at a price point that they can scale on. And so AMD can live in that space. But as far as competition and GPU, it's not a competition. Go ahead.
Surfer Boy. AMD owns the CPU landscape.
Yes.
I don't know if
in the chat.
Yeah, in the chat.
Yeah.
Nvidia is going to get into the GPU space. And here's the thing that I don't know.
CPU
space. Yeah. And then TSM, Arizona, they got to salvage Intel and make Intel and TSM do something together.
Perhaps.
Allegedly.
Yeah. And Jensen, he was, again, I didn't say TSM, but yes, he spoke about TSM and said, obviously, with our partners at TSM, we're going to do all these things.
So, okay. So there's 7,100 people in here. Hit the like button and share this to 5 people because this is important.
That was just our NVIDIA visit. We didn't even get to the Meta one.
This is important.
We didn't get to Meta. Ooh.
Okay, so that's some of the stuff that we saw at NVIDIA's conference. Now, okay, here's the other side of the coin. So we got a chance to tour Meta headquarters, and we got a chance to tour NVIDIA headquarters. And
very different.
Yeah, for sure.
Very different cultures.
Very different cultures.
Talk to Aaron.
Work culture. Work culture.
For sure.
Yes.
Okay. So you want the truth or you want the word?
I know you're going.
Nothing but the truth. It's just me and you talking. Nobody listening. Not 7,100 people.
Man. I know where we're going.
Okay. It's important to be honest in life. It's over.
It's over.
It's over with.
It's over with. We're not playing.
It's over with.
It's scary.
Elaborate, please, because that sounds so definitive. But when you say it's over, you mean?
They're working on technology that's going to replace the human race pretty much.
And it's almost done.
Less than 0.5% of any employee in any of these buildings are Black people.
It's true.
less than probably 3% of Black people, period, are even aware or even concerned in the least bit of what's happening. Like I said, that's why it's like, even after a while, like, you arguing with people online and you trying to say, like, it's got to be tiring. And but more important, it's embarrassing. It's actually embarrassing, because when we go there, there's 5 Black people and everybody's like, yo, like, it's like, how did you get the key to heaven? But it's actually embarrassing. Like I said, shout out to New Era Detroit. He was like, y'all more concerned with Big Meech's paperwork than your the son's schoolwork.
Yeah.
And that's a fact. Our priorities, talking about who Chloe Bailey is dating and just a bunch of random nonsense, and Adam 22 and all of that. Like, now they have life-changing technology that's being developed that we have no input on at all. We're not aware of any of it. And we're just going to be casualties and victims. And it's over for America, because most of the employees at these companies are Chinese and Indian. So much so, they said that sometimes in the Zoom calls, they have full Zoom calls in Mandarin.
In Mandarin. Department-wide.
I don't think people understand. Like, this is alarming.
Yes.
At very high level. At a very, very high level. Like, you see, America finally won the World Math Championship for high school, and every kid on the team is Chinese. We are getting dumber as a society.
By design.
And it's alarming. And China has a plan in place to take over the world. You know, I'm with a lot of smart people these days, and I'm getting a lot of information. I'm learning things. And you know, China, the CCP has a whole propaganda campaign called Spamiflage. So, you know, I just realized it today, because when I go on Instagram, I just see all these positive Chinese posts. It's like, China built 37 hospitals. China, like, but then I started to get the information, like, China got a lot of internal problems. The negative birth rate, the economy is pretty much on eggshells, but you never hear any of this stuff. Like, all of this stuff on Meta. So what China is doing is that they're actually funding the dysfunction in America. So you see people like Margie, what's her name? Margie, the senator,
Margie Green.
Margie Green. How does she get 1 million followers? If you ever really think about that, like, no politician really has that many followers. Like, they got all these they're promoting dysfunction in America. That's why they really wanted Trump to win. They're promoting dysfunction in America because they understand that we're just tearing up our society. But on Meta, if you look at like Instagram, you're only going to see positive Chinese posts. It's like you go to wealth page and all that. It's like, oh, China just built this railroad. China just did this. It's positive propaganda that they're pushing to enhance their world perception. The crazy thing about that is that Meta is not even allowed in China. How you take over a U.S. app? They took over a U.S. app to shape the narrative for their country, to create dysfunction in our country. The app's not even allowed inside of their country. I'll be honest with you. It's getting to a point where it's going to be so far, the gap is going to be so wide, you're not going to be able to catch up. And by the time you realize that you're not going to be able to catch up, it's over. The game is over with. It's over with. And when I say like the game is over with, like the game is over. Like, it's over.
Yeah.
Lights out, permanent underclass, like, that's what I'm saying. It's like, we got to take this a little bit more serious. The things that we're concerned about are not important at all. That's why, like, this year InvestFest, artificial intelligence is a main theme. We're gonna have like 6 workshops to teach. Like, we're going to technology is the most important thing that we need to be focused on right now. Everything else is a distraction. Technology, entrepreneurship, and investing. If those are the 3 most important things right now. China is teaching artificial intelligence in primary school. When New York State is banning ChatGPT, we're moving the exact opposite direction. They're teaching 5th graders and 3rd graders artificial intelligence. You can go through a whole master's program and never learn artificial intelligence in America at all.
We were speaking to there's a HBCU that just got artificial intelligence as a bachelor's degree. It's the first one.
Yeah.
Like we always talk. Obviously, people look at us and they think wealth gap, wealth gap. Now, this is the information gap and the technological gap that is there. There is no coming back from that, right? And yes, it's cool that we invest. Great. But we need people inside. Like we need people who are going to have large language models. Who are going to create them. We're going to need a robotics engineer. We're going to need a humanoid engineer. We're going to need a synthetic biology. We need people in these spaces because if it is created without us, there is no imprint from us. Like, and that's the seriousness of it. Like when we talked to Robert Smith, it was the same thing. If we're not part of the process in creating, we're left out. Straight up. And that's not going to get reversed.
And from a legal standpoint, if I'm a company and I third-party license robots for autonomous vehicles and factory jobs, who do you sue in terms of discrimination if I'm leasing said robots from a third-party vendor because they're not my robots because I don't have the tech to actually run it, just the software to update them? You won't even be able to have the same litigation process. You think this is being, I told you in the beginning, AI is just going to be used as a way to create a gap so wide that we will never be able to recover.
Bro,
and another thing to gauge is the enthusiasm of the corporations to deploy it for that reason. I'm not telling you what I think. I'm telling you what I saw.
Yeah. AI validation, reinforcement learning. We talked to you about data centers. Went to Meta, like, yo, I was telling the people in the class that y'all got, Market Mondays, that y'all got 32 data centers. They're like, oh, yeah. I'm like, yeah, but nobody's ever said. He's like, yeah, we've been building. I said, that's interesting. The most interesting part is like, look at where they're being built. Look at the states that they're being built in.
Yep.
They all have the same color. All have the same color. And they're using energy efficient ways. They're using local electricity, but they're giving incentives to those places. Like we gotta participate, y'all. This is like
we got 2 to 5 years. I'm being real. All that 10-year projection shit.
They asked us this question, like, let's just be 100% honest. They asked us this question and they kind of knew the answer. They're like, "What do you see AI in the next 10 years?" We all gave an answer when we were on the panel. And shout out to Lewis. He was just like, "I'm gonna be honest with you. It's not 10 years. It's 2. 2 years.
Must move faster.
2 years, bro.
Yep.
Yo, it's not an alarmist. Not being an alarmist.
We're not being sensational. This is factual data driven insight.
Yeah. Who just put that? Somebody said it's changing by the hour. I'm like, yeah. So think about that. A college is just now offering a 4-year degree for artificial intelligence, right? I said in 2 days things could change. I can't wait 4 years to get a degree to now practice. It ain't gonna be a degree. It's gonna have to be a certification, and we're gonna have to learn on the job. I can't wait 4 years, bro.
There's 2 things that you gotta do. You gotta get your money, because let's be honest, people with money they're gonna be good.
You're gonna be fine.
If you got money, you're gonna be good. That's why you gotta learn this entrepreneurship. You gotta learn this investing. If you have money, you'll be able to be okay. If you don't have money, you gotta learn the skill set and you gotta learn tech. If you don't have money and don't know tech,
it's over with.
It's over with. It's over with, unfortunately. Okay.
I'm sorry to scare you, but
here's the good news. No, it's real. It's real. I wish I could like sugarcoat it, but it's real. And being in that space, and we got, you know what? Even though there was a few of us, I want to shout out those people.
For sure.
Shout out to our brothers from Super Micro that came over and talked to us, because when they saw us, it was a reflection of the community in the sense where like people actually care about what they've been doing for the past 25 years. Because some of these people have been working in tech. Shout out to our earners. People have been working in tech for 20, 30, 40 years. And they're like, they've been trying to tell the community, like, this is happening. Here's what's coming. And every chance they miss it, nobody listens. And they were thankful that there's a platform now. So kudos to us and everybody that follows and that is doing their part inside the space. But to give a voice to what's actually happening and how important this is and how important the work is and how we need more people, because it's lonely. it's lonely in there, right? Like imagine, like we're walking in that building, and obviously we're visiting, and we're gonna come back and report what we saw, but they got to go to work there tomorrow.
Yeah,
and they've been there
so
for
like
years, and they might.
I saw. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's real. Shout out to them. Keep going. We need y'all. We need y'all. We need y'all to do that. Keep going.
For everybody that's saying where to start, I mean, I would say the best place to start is the video that we did with X. That's a 2-hour video from at the beginning level to pretty high level of learning, the prompting and stuff like that. So I mean, start there. But man,
they said she was incredible. We went to the video. They were like, that video was incredible.
Of course, InvestFest, she tore it down last year. But teach your kids how to prompt at the very, like, just little stuff. Like teach them how to use ChatGPT, teach them how to prompt, teach them about different things. Like just get them in the flow of it. They're not gonna be an expert overnight, but yeah, you can't hide it from them. Like banning ChatGPT is like banning a calculator. It makes no sense.
Yeah,
it makes no sense. Like, why are you trying to hide something that is inevitable?
Get them involved.
NVIDIA is to AI what Microsoft was to the PC market, but probably 20 times bigger. I can't even extrapolate how, and I'm going to be very honest, and I said this on stage, and not just because I was there. NVIDIA is probably the only company who, if you remember the Depression crash, when James Pierpont Morgan bailed out America, literally, the NVIDIA AI wave bailed us out from a crash that we were supposed to have. They are the VC and angel that is deploying the code. So think about this, like they're valued at trillions of dollars, but everyone is relying on them for their market valuation and for the software to deploy in all tech in the United States of America. And Saudi, who wrote that big ass check.
Yeah. I'm gonna put a list of things that they should be looking at. Like I wrote this list of careers inside of AI. So I'll put it up. I'll post it.
And it's tougher. It's even tougher to get a job now once Trump came.
Let me see if
with that whole because the thing about the DI, that's one of the things they were like, yo, DI, no black people really benefited from DI anyway. It's not even just the fact, like people was not even, they scared to even talk to a black person because they feel like if I hire a black person, period, it's gonna look like DI. It's gonna look like, so their focus is to go as far away from black people as possible. Because there's pressure, there's legal pressure. That DI thing is real. You see, Columbia University just caved in. Once they put $400 million on the table, government said we're going to take $400 million away from Columbia University. If you don't, they waited till the kids go on break. The kids is on break this week, and they announced their new policies. They caved in, but nobody's trying to lose money. Nobody's trying to go to war with the government. Like this, there is some real effects of this situation. There was already not trying to look in that direction anyway. Now they're not even thinking about going to Howard University or Clark Atlanta.
Peter Thiel was just speaking negatively on Howard versus Harvard this past weekend.
Peter Thiel, what did he say?
That it's an quote unquote paraphrasing. It's an inferior college in comparison, and a person should run the country if they went to Howard, taking shots at Queen
Kamala. Yo, they're not even thinking about it, and it's no apology.
There's no decorum.
Before, they had to at least do the dog and pony show up. Now they're like, what? They were telling people, they're like, well, no, why? Like, why would we go there? They like the black people was telling them people like, nah, you got to go there because there's talent. They're like, no, why would we go there? There's no point. Like, what's the point?
What's the audience there?
But the tricky part about it is that, see, it's a domino effect that affects everybody. There's no white people there either. That's the thing. Like, you cut your nose trying to spite you. What is it? You spite your face. You cut your nose to spite your face. Spite your face. You're doing all of this to try to further the gap of black people. You're hurting yourself because there's no white people there either. America is in trouble when they having Zoom calls in Mandarin.
Yes,
that's a problem.
Don't show up late
at
to
a
the meeting.
Fortune 4 company.
Don't show up late to the meeting. You might miss everything. No translation.
And if y'all think redlining and real estate was bad, man, redlining and AI is probably 100 times worse.
No, it's real. We sat there and watched what appeared to be like field trips. And I'm just like, this is crazy. We still taking kids to the Bronx Zoo. These dudes is touring NVIDIA and Meta. Shout out to the Bronx Udo.
Okay. All right.
All right. Digress.
Emerging
On a lighter
technology
note,
trend. I feel like we covered that already, right? The emerging technology trend have the biggest impact on consumer. Okay. Let's talk about TSM. We talked about that. Broadcom. We talked about that. Okay.
With Intel?
Broadcom.
Oh, Broadcom. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You want to do the technicals?
Waste management?
Yes, we can cover that.
Let's do it.
Okay. What's the deal with waste management? So I think that was a question that was a question from the audience. It said somebody that was the biggest holding was waste management.
Continue to hold.
Good job.
Great job. Great company long term. I would be remiss after that long rant and after talking about that total addressable market and taking a piece of every sector. Yeah, at some point you got to get you some NVIDIA if you don't have it as well. I think Waste Management is an incredibly run company for sure. Recession proof, adjacent. So if you've been holding, it's your largest holding, you're doing well, especially if you held it for the last 5 or 6 years. But everything, well, even in companies like that, and Costco and John Deere, Home Depot, they're going to have AI integrations too to make everything more efficient. And this is the great part of it. We're going to see a lot more companies have higher profit margin as a result. I wish we could show you a picture of the server racks from the different versions of what NVIDIA's created. They're making fucking 60% improvement in product design, one generation after another. Like, so Waste Management is a great company for sure, but get you some NVIDIA. Apple, you on the clock. If we don't get a change by InvestFest, I'm gonna start a campaign for Tim Cook to leave. I don't give a damn that he created 90% of the market share value after Steve Jobs died. I don't give a fuck about none of that. Do not care.
There's children watching it. Yeah.
Shout out to y'all. Shout out to everybody at HQ.
Oh yeah, shout out to I did get a comment about the cursing.
Oh,
they asked again. Grandmother. It was a grandmother.
It was a grandmother.
It was a grandmother.
Okay.
We sorry, Grandma.
It was a grandmother.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. But I only said for emphasis how important. Okay, can we be real? We got a person in office that wants our race to die. We worry about me cussing? What are we talking about, yo? Let's wrap the show up. I heard my leisure before I start doing the show. You're worried about me cursing? Dog, Peter Thiel, and this the crazy shit. Peter is a smart Trump. Shit, they want to get him out. Okay, go look. I put it in Telegram for Stock Club. JD Vance is trying to move out Elon now to bring in who he wants.
Hey, I thought you were gonna say that for Wednesday, man. I got the audio recording.
JD Vance is on.
You heard the audio
of what? JD?
Yeah, going at Elon.
Peter's lining up his run right.
Yeah, that was
now.
crazy. It's crazy. Yeah. We'll see. We got save that. They said the leather coat just came out. Yeah, I love it.
But
I mean, do I even talk about wasting?
God ain't done with me yet.
Yo, your blood pressure just went like 140/92.
That's performative. We're live. I gotta spice it up. Oh, we missed leather jacket vibes. Jensen, here we go.
Yo, leather jacket intact. I mean, Waste Management, I think you nailed it. Recession proof. If you look at their financials, profit margins is pretty incredible. And this is one of those things. It's like it's a business that you're not thinking about, but it's completely necessary. And how does AI affect it? Well, we were in California a couple of years ago. There was a guy driving the truck, but there was nobody picking up the trash. All robotics. In fact, that'll lead to autonomous at some point where it won't be anybody driving that truck. And if you don't have it at a certain spot on the curb, it's not being picked up. You can see how that will be the future of some of the waste management. But you know what we forgot to mention about this whole thing when we went to NVIDIA? Thursday was Quantum Day. We completely.
Oh yeah.
So, and then there's that part. So I know a lot of people. INQ went up 17%. Today, which was pretty incredible. But yeah, quantum, this is something that he said was going to happen 30 years from now. We're so far away. And then 45 days later, he had the heads of pretty much every company that is big in the quantum space. IBM was there, Rigetti was there, All the players were there on stage with him, and so again, they're not they're not just there to have coffees and donuts. There's partnership there. If they're not there, right? Like we didn't see Apple's presence there. There's a reason for that. And so it might happen sooner than you think, right? After we go from the GPU model, what will be the most efficient quantum computing? So yeah, that might be sooner than we think.
I love you, but quit spamming the chat. I love you. Quit spamming the chat. I'm gonna be real. What's the purpose of being rich if you can't say what you want to say? For one. For two, to Jensen, last year they didn't even have. I'm bringing down a quantum day.
Wasn't part of it.
Shout out to IONQ and QBT. Imagine me telling you that a technological wave is going to come true, and he then says, "Oh, it's 10 to 20 years away," and 2 months later, have a quantum day. Yeah. We are seeing high-level government contract and international arbitrage games being played in real. This reminded me of when JP Morgan first said, "We don't believe in crypto," while buying Bitcoin at the London trading desk, but telling Americans we don't believe in it for Vanguard and BlackRock to then come in.
Well, shout out to Sinaj. That's the Carnegie Hall 7 years. He said, because I'm like, quantum, like, that's going to take 10 years. She's like, 7.
So they're front running the innovations they didn't even create. It's interesting.
Peekaboo.
But do you guys want the truth, or you want to be talked to nicely? And that's part of our issue. We want it to be packaged a certain way, and we want to have decorum and be well dressed and well spoken to people who are going to war and warlords with us. And I'm gonna be real. Most of the people on the internet who act nice and all polite, they're not that in real life. They're some fucking dogs. On both sides. Even the liberal side has gone conservative for equity and funding. But I'll clean up the language. But is language the thing that we should be worried about when we're losing equity in real time? We was in Silicon Valley 4 days. I may have seen 30 Black and Latin people in combination. Shout out to my brother Kevin over at NVIDIA. Maybe 30.
That was dope. Yeah, that you nailed it. That's the play. That's the play. Tell you not to do it while they're doing it.
Peekaboo.
It's a fact. Yo, if everybody in chat, I put the list of different opportunities in AI. I've been putting them in there. So if you look, just scroll back up. I've been putting them in based on category.
Chat.
Check the chat.
I'm gonna put like 2 more.
Salute to chat. Salute to the chat.
Whoever can capture all those and put it in the list for somebody, that'd be great.
Bigger than the chat.
Shout out to chat.
Kanye West put out a good album too. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Shoddy.
We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that on Wednesday. We'll talk about that on Wednesday.
Can you talk about the text message?
On Wednesday.
He come out with Nazis in Paris. Was that on there?
Hopefully not.
Yo, that's on the B side. That's on the B side.
Hopefully not. APLD.
No. We need to get back to dead or alive. This one isn't dead, but this is no. No. Every other company right now is just Nvidia's child. Y'all all sons, but no, APLD I would not touch at all.
All right, let's do something technical. Can we do that? So so we talked about technicals. We talked about the 20-day, 50-day, 72, which I know is one of your favorites.
Yeah.
The 200-day moving average. What does that tell us about the state of the market? Because a lot of people get confused and try to figure out, well, why they keep saying that. So let's break that down.
It's a classic tried and true methodology for how to get into the market. So when people are asking, hey, what do I buy? The fact that the market is above the 200-day moving average means we are pushing bullish. Tesla had a great day. S&P had a great day. You can even see it at the start of the Sunday session. So anytime that we're below the 200-day moving average or right at it, that's a good place for you to buy, especially if you're looking on a monthly chart. But if we are breaking above the 200-day moving average, that means we are going into a bullish cycle. Once again, around this time of year is when a lot of the funds, hedge funds and fund of funds start to put money into the market and deploy capital for their clients. That's part of the reason. Second reason is asymmetric risk. So could they put in money at a place and almost be guaranteed an upside return? We got to that point. But if you want to know a very easy way of where to get into the market and how to read it, it's definitely leaning towards a bullish environment. And I think we'll push up for here, especially since Trump got a call and was told to ease up on some of those tariffs as well.
Yeah, I think I think it's a clear sign of what we were kind of referring to maybe a few weeks ago when we talked about support and resistance. But the 200 kind of gives you that a longer scale time period of how people are feeling about the market. And so we saw some pullbacks. We saw the S&P go under 10%, which is correction territory. We saw the NASDAQ do it. We saw the Dow do it. And so, like you said, once we start trading above that, that now speaks to trend lines that are moving in a favorable position toward the market. So that's always a good thing. I think the VIX is also something that people should be paying attention to.
Sure.
We got down to about 18, which is good, right? We were trending up towards 30. I said, if we get to 35, seatbelts on. And look, we've had a reversal in that sense. So those are good signs. I think last week we're like, where's the bottom of the market? Where's the bottom of the market? When we start to see reversals from that 200-day, when we start to see the VIX pull back into the teens, these are good signs that the market are going to be moving ahead. And it also goes back to further the best months to be trading in. We're in toward the tail end of March. We know that April is one of the best months to invest, but this is why we have those lows in March, so you can see some of the gains in April. So keep that in mind too.
And if you never want to have to guess and learn all this technical information about where to get in, go to ianinvest.com and join the Red Panda Stock Club.
Join the family.
That's a fact.
Even in media, quick lesson: you need good cop, bad cop. So me and Rashad alternate what days we're gonna do it. But some days when we're live, especially, I don't mind being the heel. It's okay. You may not agree with the cursing now, but you're gonna curse like hell when you up 400% from listening to me. If I made you money, please put yes in chat.
Yes, sir.
I know what my value is too. Because if I make it look harder, then let's not do the show for 2 years. I know what that's worth. If you're talking podcast rankings and media rankings, Charlemagne will be at the Best Fest talk about it, won't he? Shout out to my brother. So.
This guy's crazy. This guy's crazy. Shout out to Charlotte. Mask Motivator. CoreWeave is at a good IPO. When it does IPO, that's definitely a company you should have on your.
And I'm gonna apologize to DJ Envy on stage too. Let the public apology be as loud as the disrespect. I'm doing better. It's just taking me a while.
Disrespect was public. The apology will be the same.
Has to be. Get my boy in the water and everything. Yeah.
That's mature. That's growth. That's growth.
Yeah, that's my dog. That's my guy.
Okay.
Let's see.
Oh. So 23andMe, a company that was once valued at $6 billion, now under 50 million. CEO resigned.
Yeah.
Man, what's to make of that?
I'm gonna be a good cop now. My first thought is, isn't it interesting? After a bioweapon was sent to have an adverse effect on our country, that all of a sudden American citizens' data is up for sale while we're in the middle of a global war with China. It's over. They're playing a different game. They have part of Africa, part of Mexico.
The infrastructure play.
I just find the timing very interesting.
Yeah. I think that was my first thought. I was with you on that. It was company goes bankrupt, CEO steps down. Yeah, that's for
after
the
$6 billion valuation. You have to try to do that.
Those are the headlines. That's the headlines. The important part is like, where's all the data? And who now has it? Because if people, we're talking like their DNA. Did you have to put like a hair swab and they got your DNA from that?
Yep.
That just goes
And
up in
the
smoke.
ether. So hypothetically, if I had an agentic AI system ran through DeepSeek, wouldn't it behoove me to take that data and then maybe potentially create derivative works based off of that health data?
Well, that's the interesting. So we had an interesting conversation about that. You just made me think of something, right? When we might have been at a company and we were talking about the biomechanics of AI and how allegedly how it could cure some health diseases, and how would they get the information or the data from people so that they can put performance tests to use DNA and get genetics. And it was like the number one issue was that people would have to sign over that data so that the people can have records to it. Most people are not going to give their health records to a company so they can use that for testing. But if you
have a fire sale,
a data leak with your DNA,
allegedly,
that makes it a little bit easier. A lot of bit easier. And you ain't even know it.
African ancestry. If you're interested in getting your DNA tested.
Who owns that company, by the
way?
Huh?
Great company, by the way.
Yes. I support that
wholeheartedly.
Oh, yep.
Wholeheartedly.
Salute.
Yep.
Salute.
Yes.
Speaking of NVIDIA, also is it's crazy. Don't be surprised if you see NVIDIA at InvestFest. But when we was talking to him and he was like, yo,
hello.
He's like, InvestFest? Like, that's crazy. Like, what you guys like?
You just gonna give him that?
Well, I said, don't be surprised. It's allegedly.
Allegedly.
He was like,
hey, I thought the same thing. I said, ooh.
Damn, okay.
Allegedly. But he's like, yo, InvestFest is crazy. Like, yeah, like we need to be involved in that. You can't take things for granted.
Yeah.
Sometimes when you have something, it's human nature to take it for granted. When what did Jay Electronica say? He said familiarity doesn't breed appreciation, it breeds contempt.
Contempt.
Like the more you have something, the more you just disregard it. When you don't have anything, then you appreciate it because it's like, oh, it's like a mystery. But when it's like in front of you, you don't look at it. It's just like a regular everyday thing. Far from normal. That's from HQ. that message
live from HQ.
That message has been delivered from HQ, ladies.
That's a fact.
If you're interested.
Multiple companies.
Who has a question? Let's answer a question in chat.
Yes, please.
If you have a question in chat, put it in chat. We're live. Those that pay attention. That is a fact.
That's a fact.
That's an old school rule.
We got this question earlier. It said, how do I get my 28-year-old son to see the importance of investing?
That's a great
question. We kind of get that question a lot. How do I show like my children or my college graduate that they should be investing? Where would you start?
You have to lead with the result. So invest. Like just ask your kid, do you want to be rich? And if I gave you a bunch of money to be rich, would you be happy with that? They're going to say yes. Then invest for them. Especially in this era, you have to show the kids the result. So whether you start with 1,000 or 5,000, a lot of times the kids are different than us in this era. They want immediate gratification. The great part about having the show, if you bought in at the price where I said NVIDIA will get to, you can give them immediate gratification. I haven't done this in a while. Don't nobody else ask. Message me. I will put you in Stock Club for free for a year so you can give your child immediate gratification to offset my language this evening.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But you have to do the actual work and get the thing that made Xander love investing was not me doing a fundamental analysis of it. He saw me put in a bunch of money into Apple And then I took the money out and threw it on the bed like I was chasing Diamond from Players Club. It hit different when they actually see the money. Wait, all this came from Apple? All that Apple over with? Xander don't want to hear that. No. Apple to him is a printing press.
I put 3 steps, and I think you kind of encompass those 3 steps. I said lead by demonstration.
Yep.
Make it relatable, make it real. And I think the scenarios that you just explained kind of for all those things, right? I'm going to trade, right? They're going to see the benefits of me trading. Here's some of the benefits, how they affect you. That's leading by the demonstration, making it relatable, finding the companies that make sense. And this is true. Like, I would argue 5 years ago, maybe 6 years ago, people had no idea what NVIDIA did. They just knew that we kept saying it, so invest in it. We've got to a point like some of the audience has figured out what they do because we talk about the GPU. And now it's like to the point where people are actually understanding the entire ecosystem, which is how it works, right? The first thing is lead by demonstration. You put it in your account. That's the first thing, right? Great company. We're telling you great company. We're showing you why it's a great company. It became relatable because you understood, hey, this is what a GPU does, and here's how it's going to affect the world going forward. And it became real. Like now we're saying like, yo, here's what the GPU does, but here's how this ecosystem is built around it. So if you do those 3 things, I think for any age, not just like your college graduate or your kid who's in high school or your 6th grader who's about to go to middle school, like make it relatable, make it real, and lead by demonstration. Those are the 3.
ARK. Is it the return of Kathy? Was another InvestFest alumni, somebody that you shared the stage with.
Yeah. She needed. Ooh. Hold on, let me see. Go ahead.
What's the deal?
Kudos to Kathy, the entire ARK team. Don't worry, I got you some good.
Okay.
I love y'all dearly. Do I think they will make a return at some point? I'm not sure. I do think that she's made some improvements in the way that she's structuring the portfolio. But I think it would be great to have a return at InvestFest. I would definitely lean towards Vanguard, BlackRock first, maybe some exposure to IBIT. But I do want to point out once again, if it was not for her, that the Tesla and Bitcoin parent in a portfolio long term, we would not have the Michael Saylor of today. So I would love to get Novogratz, Kathy, and Mike on stage at the same time for InvestFest. So any of y'all MicroStrategy maxis, hit Michael Saylor up.
Please shoot him an email.
See what we can do. Yeah.
You don't even got to create the email. Put it in your GBT and tell him why he should be there, and then just keep forwarding that every day for the next 140 days. Yeah, I mean, it's tough. ARK is obviously it's had a pullback. If Tesla, which leads the fund, has a pullback in a drawdown, the fund is going to fall. And then when you talk about Tesla and the correlation between that and Bitcoin, which is a great comparison, Bitcoin had a pullback, right? It got up to 108, and then it fell down. I think even last week it got down to 78,000. And so those 2 things, Tesla, Coinbase, Roblox has actually performed well, which is in the top 4. If you're going to have a drawdown in the leading companies in their fund, then your fund's not going to perform well. She actually sold some Meta shares. I'm always interested in seeing the timing of when she sells shares because we've seen it not work out in the past. She sold hundreds of thousands of shares of Nvidia, and we saw how that panned out. Now some Meta shares when it pulled back to like 570. So it's interesting how she goes about it. I mean, she's incredible. One of the brightest minds that we've ever spoken to, for sure. But yeah, it's having a tough time right now. Obviously, as the leader of the fund is trying to figure its way out here.
We're gonna figure it out.
Someone asked, "What's the next NVIDIA or Palantir?" There is no new NVIDIA.
No, that's not next. Yeah,
they are, to go to an older Rockefeller reference. They are Standard Oil of GPU and AI.
Yeah.
MicroStrategy had a big day today. It was up $31.
Good day for the market today.
MicroStrategy jumped over 500,000 Bitcoins owned. 500,000 Bitcoins.
That's a lot. It was a good day.
Bitcoin.
It was a good day. Tesla was up 30. ASML shot up $12. We saw AMD go up. It was a nice day for the portfolio.
Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Bitcoin back at it.
Was it at 85? Did it cross 86?
86.
It got to 86?
Almost 87.
Okay.
All right. What do we learn? What do we learn today, folks?
It's over. I hate to report the news, but it's over.
The game is over.
Yeah.
That's like that Nas album on I Am, I think it was on the intro. He's like, it's over. Y'all let Giuliani win. It's over. The game is over.
It's over.
Like, it's over. Y'all let China win. How y'all let China win this, man?
Oh, is BRICS a conspiracy? Remember they were saying that 3 years ago? Okay.
Y'all let China win. Y'all let China win the war. And China has a terrible human rights record.
Terrible. Terrible.
Well, isn't it interesting to be beat with your same horrible human rights record? It's another form of slavery, which is the first tech that was deployed at scale in the United States of America to make it the United States of America. So you get beat by your own game. Now, of course, is there Ponzi's in China? For sure, allegedly. Is their economy on a house of cards, like you said earlier? Allegedly. Will they even ruin parts of their real estate market to drop the global value of what ours is worth? For sure. But we got beat by our own game.
It's over?
Yeah. But what do we know?
Hey.
And when I stop being passionate and stop cursing, that means I don't care anymore and I'm out the door.
I got some information on TSM that we're going to share at a later date, but we're going to be all right.
Yeah.
We're going to be all right.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Real quick. Because, and we spoke about this right before we came on, but in terms of AI agents, this is a report just came out. So the big four, the largest global professional services companies, Deloitte, Ernst & Young, Price Waterhouse, so PwC, and then KPMG, all are making efforts to lead AI agents inside of their offices going forward, which means that there will be less jobs in those spaces because who needs to pay insurance when you can pay your AI agent?
Well, Robert Smith, he offered to sell us an AI agent.
We gotta take him up on that.
We gotta follow up on
Hotline Bling. What's
Yeah.
I'm not engaging with anybody that has not been offered an AI agent from Robert Smith.
So
talk about it. I don't want to hear no.
So like
for the record,
it's a very limited list.
For the record,
it's a few of us.
You deserve to be rich. New York Times bestseller. Make sure you get that. A great roadmap to financial freedom. Invest Fest, August 22nd to August 24th. Red Panda does have a discount code. Red Panda Community. Bells and whistles. You never know who might come. You never know who might come.
Elon Musk. See you there.
Allegedly. Allegedly.
Yo, this guy's crazy.
Allegedly. Get your vendor booths too, because those always sell out. Those sell out early.
Yeah.
Those vendor booths sell out pretty quickly.
Join Red Panda Stock Club if you want to get rich from the market. I appreciate you guys so much. If I've made you money, please put yes in chat. Thank you to everybody at Nvidia, Meta, the guys at Super Micro. I appreciate you. Guggenheim is interesting. The healthcare space, I can't. Lilly, Agentic, wait for it.
Somebody
on all the lower tier pharma companies.
Y'all keep talking about Diddy, man. If he beats this case, y'all gonna have
put your money on the table. Get your math on. Break it down, split it up, get your laugh on.
Y'all keep talking about Diddy, man. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Shout out to my man Panama on the check-in.
P, what up? Yeah. Shout out to my dog Tweet. He was out in Atlanta with us. Shout out to P, pulled up to the event with us. Couple of MG was out there with us. Shout out to MG. Shout out to
Jarrell,
Pastor Phillip.
Phil. My brother Philip
Go.
in the building. He got the 2819 church.
Yeah.
Going crazy.
That was a great Black Out episode.
Okay, let me address this. Joseph said, y'all talk network, but maybe if you got the personal attacks, y'all could have a dope combo with Elon. I am one of the catalysts for why most of the people in our community is in Tesla.
Oh, what
It's not
what
a
you say?
personal attack. This is real. Okay, everybody put it in chat. This is called an analytical assessment. So because it's me, it may not get looked at the same as if it was someone of a fair complexion. Cool, I get that. But a lot of the things, and y'all notice it too, put a yes in chat if you see me say something, then other publications talk about it an hour after or the morning after the show comes out. For the record, too, I don't have a grievance with Elon. I'm calling a spade a spade. And if you, I don't know if you are, because I rock with you. I've talked to people I talked to them in the White House the night of the fucking election. So stop this. We're biased. This is called reporting. And just because other networks, because they're not independent, they can't give you the real take. I'm sorry. Charlemagne once said, you can be of the industry or of the people. I choose to be of the people. I don't care about the industry.
Journalistic integrity. I'll be honest with you, and just to furthermore like cement what you're saying, when we run into execs from these companies, the first thing they say is, yes, we love what y'all doing, but the next thing that they say is like, y'all are spot on. Y'all are spot on. Keep going. And that's from Meta, that's from Supermicro, NVIDIA.
Tesla too. I'll talk to the right hand report.
Shout out to my Google fam. Yo, y'all, shout out to our Google fam. Yeah, y'all are spot on. Keep going. Again, those are those validating moments, like when the research actually comes into fruition. And you're like, all right, let's keep going, because not only are we getting this right, but the people that are listening are getting it too. And that's the biggest thing, right? Yes, everybody's not going to get invited to the GTC. Everybody's not. Some of us will, but it's our job and our duty to say, like, hey, we were there and this is what's happening. And that's what we're going to do. Information is on us. Execution is always going to be on y'all.
Everybody can come to invest.
That's a fact.
That's a great segue. Media Master.com
for the culture. for the culture.
Yep. See, and this is why I be negro or negro, heel. Rashad's in lighter color, good guy, media trainer. Support black colleges and schools. I'm with you, brother. I see you.
Support black colleges. Very important.
And for the record, this is the thoughts that I have and perspective I may have given on the guidance. His right hand reports and chairman of that, or co-chairman and senior advisor, have the same opinion, and so does JD Vance and Donald Trump.
That's a fact.
These are the conversations that people are actually having in business. I'm just crazy enough to have them in public for the time being.
Short time. Short time.
I'm here for a good time.
Not a long time.
That's a fact. That is
boy.
Fact.
Boy. Shout out to my mom and dad. Shout out to my baby Xander for getting baptized. I love you. You mean the world to me.
Oh, praise God. Amen.
Yeah, that's my baby. As soon as Xander send me this text, when I can be done talking to the public, it's over with.
We ain't doing it no more, Dad.
Dad, I like the show. Lit at school. And I asked him yesterday, you still want me to do the show? I like the show. Me and my friends watch it. Shout out to the parents at the school who watch it. Love y'all.
Important. It's important. It's important. Yeah. They Google us.
And I appreciate y'all. It was a great time hanging out. Great classic combos. Many combos we can never have in public, but I appreciate y'all, man. For real.
That's a fact. Appreciate you, man. Yeah. Appreciate it. Man.
We made it, man. We made it back, man.
Thank God. I was worried. I was like, damn.
That's
it was, this man, the way he hit me on the plane, I'm like, what? He's like, the way he tapped, pause. You're right, pause. Damn, man. The way he tapped my shoulder with his hand on the plane, I was like, what happened? This guy's crazy. This man ran off screen. Grow up, Ian. Where's the maturity we just spoke about? Forget it.
I gotta mature faster.
Nah, that's definitely close.
Yo. It's been real.
It's been real, man.
It's been real, ladies and gentlemen. Invest Fest, get your tickets. Blackout, Tamika Mallory.
Yep, Wednesday.
This Wednesday.
No, you should not invest in Saratoga water.
Shout out to that dude though.
Shout out to Ashton for going viral.
Yo,
But
did
no.
he have? He got
very,
like millions of followers.
He's
now.
very viral.
Did he have millions of followers prior to this?
Mm-hmm.
Yo,
okay.
boy that cooks the alligators. I need to get in touch with you. If anybody knows him.
And a shark.
Yes.
He cooking alligators?
Yes.
And shark.
I need you at Invest Fest, brother.
Like
alligator bites fire though.
Those are right. Yeah. Those are
BS.
Animal cruelty is gonna be calling.
So his thing is that he cooks rabbits.
Nah, come on, man. We ain't doing all that.
Deep fries rabbits.
The South, do they eat rabbit in the South?
Yeah.
I saw
possum.
Yeah, what's his name? Eating possum. Dude from the Panthers.
Possum. He's cooked possum.
That's an ugly animal, bro.
For sure.
Oh my, it's a rodent.
That dude's crazy, but he's viral too. And Lethal Shooter. I gotta actually see this happen in person.
Yo, did you see Steph? No. You saw what Steph just did?
Yeah, that was crazy. But Lethal Shooter.
No, that was
Lethal Shooter did the water bottle.
That's ridiculous.
That's crazy. That's different.
Steph's shot was ridiculous, and people were in the arena and watched that happen.
No, Steph, yeah.
They had different angles of it. He really made that shot. Lethal Shooter shooting a gummy bear in a water bottle from any distance is ridiculous.
Lethal Shooter different.
That's like something you practicing, like you in detention. You just trying to figure this thing out.
Lethal Shooter is different, bro. Oh, rabbits. He cooks rabbits also.
People in the South eat that.
People in the South eat rabbits?
Yeah.
I've been in the South a long time. I've never seen
you're not from the South though. Like
I'm not from the South. I used to live in Florida.
That doesn't mean you're from the South.
I live everywhere. Okay, you live in Hawaii. Well, Rhode Island.
Like where
I used to live in Florida.
What? Like
shout out to all my Floridians out there.
Little Rock and Mississippi and like that's
what part of Florida?
Is not the South.
Deep South.
That's actually like Midwest kind of.
Arkansas is the South. That's not the Midwest. Ian's from the Midwest.
Yeah, Arkansas is the South.
Middle.
Arkansas,
that's like
that's not
Tornado Alley. That's like Oklahoma.
That's not
Oklahoma's not the South.
Oklahoma's central.
That Arkansas is central.
No, Arkansas is to the right of that. So Arkansas is the South. The South technically ends like East Texas.
Shout out to the South, man. You know, I've been all over the South.
Nigga said I definitely eat rabbit.
I done been all over the South, man.
Louisiana eats
Florida,
everything.
Panhandle, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia.
They definitely eat
Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina.
We've been to South Carolina? You've been to South Carolina? That's the one. Somebody said that to me.
I've been to South Carolina.
What you doing out there?
Yeah.
I've been like I was outside for all this. I was outside before all of this, bro.
In real life.
I used to live in Massachusetts. I used to live in Florida. I used to live in Hawaii. I've done a few things.
Perhaps.
For sure.
Cali.
What part of Florida?
I was in Bradenton, Florida, by Sarasota.
Yeah.
Not far from Tampa.
Tampa vibe. Sarasota vibe.
Shout out to Tampa.
Ybor City. I was in Tampa before they won the Super Bowl when they had
2001.
Gruden.
John Gruden.
Gruden.
Okay.
Derek Brooks and Warren Sapp. Keyshawn Johnson was on that team.
Shout out to everybody at IMG Academy.
Big facts. Let's say that again. Yeah.
One day, I'm going to do a documentary.
Yep.
Until then,
y'all be good, man.
Follow the Instagram.
Shoot a text. Shoot a prayer for everybody. Love is love. Y'all know that. One phone call, one text can shift somebody's day. Definitely can shift somebody's life, man. Y'all be good to each other. Y'all be good to each other. And love is love. Peace.
What Erykah Badu say, I'm just passionate about my ish. That's all.
I'm just passionate about my shit. Love. Peace.
Love y'all.